coming up. All of it. We're back. We're back. I've been live one time in a month. It now makes two.
Yahumba, I'm pronouncing that right. And Jerry, they're with us on the Zoom.
Right,
what's up, guys?
Good, fellas. Okay.
Fantastic.
We don't have a second screen, but that's okay.
We're pulling together the other platforms, guys, the TikToks, the YouTubes, letting everybody else in.
Did we go live already? We must be out there on YouTube. What's up, everybody on YouTube, if you're seeing us now? We got TikTok going down. Jadu and Jesse right here. Ask me anything. But I have to stay on this mic for you guys.
Right? Yep.
Okay. Where's the chat? Captions and live YouTube.
Jerry, I feel like have we already been on the phone? I've had you in my calendar. You guys feel free. We can see your chat. You'll be able to unmute yourselves. You'll be able to go back and forth with us on any questions, burning questions that you want to be able to run by us. I mean, that's what we're here for sure. VIP folks that show up on the Zoom. So feel free to chime in right now, but we'll be going back and forth on all the other platforms too.
Okay, so let's give a welcome to our TikTok audience out there. They like things answered real quick. So Jadu and Jesse back live for the Banking Bros channel here at the Cash Compound. We go live on Thursdays in the afternoon, 3:30 Eastern Time, with an Ask Me Anything. That means that no topic is off limits when we're talking about the infinite banking concept, IBC, or as we like to call it, the save and spend system. We got the 3-cup setup on the table, so we got your visuals to help you as well. And depending on who's seeing us, the visuals might be forward or backward here in a 3-cup setup. Premium deposit, cash value, and your death benefit to help you frame up the product for the process of infinite banking. So, Jesse, before we get into anything else, I'll recap the last couple of weeks of my life.
Do it, man.
It has been all over. No, I want to know about who'd you just talk to. What was going on in their mindset when we were trying to help them understand the infinite banking concept?
Yeah.
Utilizing that in their life, what were they thinking or hoping it was going to do, and how'd you set them straight?
So I was talking with an individual from Oregon, very entrepreneurial-minded, business-minded, investment-minded, and that's where his conversation was, which is great. We're here to empower people to become their own banker, to save and spend their money at the same time, whether that's in investments, their household, their current small business, whatever it is that they're doing in life. But we start with banking.
Banking is
the foundational process for what it is that you are doing or want to do. So we had to circle back to banking.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are not starting off with the idea of how to get better at investments or our opinions about investments. We've got to get in the game of solving the problem. That got brought up a lot at the Nelson Nash Institute event that I went to with Jonah, the other banking bro. We have to help people understand what is the problem and how does infinite banking solve that problem. If we start there, then we'll figure out how to get there, what dollars to use. But, of course, TikTok is going to go straight to the dollars. $100,000, how much money and when can I withdraw something? We are typically going to teach you how to borrow against the value of your policy. So let's put some dollars in the game here. Hopefully you're still standing there, tall dog. I think that's what it says. Okay, you put in some money. Premium that buys you life insurance, okay? Whole life insurance from a mutual insurance company that pays dividends. We also went to the home office at One America. We were there yesterday.
When you were in Indiana?
When I was going back to Indiana. What's up? Make sure you guys are following along, by the way. You're going to get notifications about when we go live if you click that link in the Banking Bros. And, of course, if you, follow here, but if you go further and click the link, you'll be able to get in a one-on-one cash consultation with Coach Jesse. Okay, and we're going to borrow against our policies. Jesse, I need you to stay with me now. People are going, come on, Jesse, let them in.
My bad, I was watching the comments section, but we got more people joining in.
Okay, and watch out there, YouTube.
That's what I was trying to do, toggle back and forth.
Okay, so we're borrowing against the value of our policy. So if we put dollars inside premium, red cup, cup one, it buys us life insurance. And this is a specially designed life insurance that we are going to engineer cash value of that out the gate right away within the first 30 days. So that answers your question. Yes, within the first 30 days, you will have a portion of the death benefit that is growing, but is also cash flowing right away. Okay, so if you're still out there, go ahead and give us another question to confirm that you know this answer, but hey, I want to know something else, because you did give me numbers before, and we're willing to help you with that. If you like or love our answers, and that's helpful to you, go ahead and double tap on the screen. Give me a heart or a like wherever you are. You're welcome. Yes. Cash value. Now, remember, cash value is always growing. It's always income tax free. It's always available. There is a provision that you are contractually able to borrow against your policy at any time, forever, for the rest of your whole life. So we're utilizing that. The number is not what's important. Plug in any number, but there will always be premiums that buy death benefit, and we're going to leverage cash value that keeps getting bigger. Okay, so it'll be bigger tomorrow than it is today. Great question. Appreciate you out there. Okay, so we're going to keep going with the conversation. Anybody on Zoom? Fellas out there on Zoom. Now, have you talked to Jerry or Yahumbra here?
I was trying to double check.
Yeah.
He checked out on the video, so I don't know if he's driving right now. But, Jerry, feel free to reach out with any questions here today that we haven't already. I feel like we've already had our first consultation call, but it's been busy.
Somebody loves you no matter what and forgotten you. Thank you for that. And somebody asked if I like Texas Roadhouse. I have a free entree dinner from Texas Roadhouse in my bag, so I need to cash that in. Appreciate you giving me that reminder. Why are you looking at the speaker like I don't know. We are in several different areas. If you want to follow us, we have a podcast channel, YouTube. We've got TikTok here, our Zoom audience here, and we've got YouTube.
Yep. Thanks for texting back, Jerry. And I did. I just checked my phone, too. It's been about 3 weeks, I guess. But, yep, we already spoke once. Look to answer any more questions that you have today.
All right. Jesse's looking straight at the computer, and he still didn't let Mindy back in.
She was here. She fell out. She's back.
That is Zoom, though.
What's up,
People fall out and come back and Zoom all the time.
Right.
Okay. Regarding banking. Ask more questions. Yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't see. Okay, regarding banking. Nope. Okay, so let's pull out the book here for a second.
Yeah,
Be careful. Don't mess up our connection. Ladies and gentlemen, we highly suggest. I was reminded at the Nelson Nash Institute think tank this year, 2024. It was in Vegas. My brother and I went out there. Several of our team members were able to go as well. Reminder, we are walking and talking people through what banking is. An infinite banking concept can be best utilized from a whole life insurance policy. And that's what you're kind of seeing here illustrated. But this is the book you need. This is the book. Get the book. Ask me questions all day. Ask me questions. We're here to answer. We're here to help. And then get the book. And then when you think, oh, yeah, let me just get this question in. I don't need the book. No, get the book. Get the book.
Reread the book.
Reread the book. So our friends at Ascendant Financial, they're also infinite banking practitioners up beyond the border in Canada. They tell their clients, be sure to read the book every year.
I like to do that personally.
Every year. You got to read it every year. Yeah.
I don't know that I've read Nash's second book once every year habitually. I have read it multiple times, but like committing to once. But both the books multiple times over the past, 9 years now, let's say. Let's get to Yahumba's question since he put it in the chat for us. So in your first year of your policy, what's the maximum amount you can add to your policy?
Great question. So that's a man who's thinking, because every dollar we do put inside premium, this is the visual, that we pay in premium is guaranteed to do lots of things for us. Guaranteed to grow in cash flows, the quick way I say it, but it's also guaranteed not to go down or backward. You cannot lose value. It does not lose to market. It also buys a death benefit that must pay out. Look how much money we bought. It must pay one day for your family, friends, church, and charities. It also grows cash value that you can borrow against and leverage from the insurance company and use, lose, or abuse, as we say to be funny. But this amount can do whatever you want without disturbing the constant compounding of your premiums. How much can you get in?
Well, keep going. I'm sorry.
That's a variable question.
I was going to jump to there's extra too, though. So whatever you're contractually going to pay, whatever that number is, that's your regular ongoing recurring premium. We do build these policies with companies that have the flexibility for you to pay extra into your premium. So to answer the question, if I'm interpreting it correctly as how much extra could you pay, there is a limit, but it's as simple as this. You either call the company or you log into your portal and say, hey, I'm paying my regular recurring premiums, but I'd like to pay some extra. They'll tell you what that number is, and then you can pay up to that amount or whatever amount you can. And I try to do that as a practice every year as well, is pay as much premium as I can, even extra premium, over and above and beyond my regular scheduled premiums into all of our policies.
That is the answer. So it's going to be a variable and different amount depending on when you started that policy in your life, depending on how much you got in there, and even depending on which company that you have. The company we use most often is very flexible in that category compared to a lot of companies, so there's a lot of extra money that can go in, especially in the first year. I will also say that once you smart folks out there, Yahumbra, realize that this is the place to store your capital and as much as you can, when you hit the limit, that's when we're talking about starting new policies. So if you can't get in all the dollars you got inside this particular cup because it only holds 12 ounces, then we are talking about multiple policies in your banking system on your spouse, on yourself, on your children, etc. So don't you think that we're going to have to just stop when we fill this up as high as we can go.
That makes me think about another question that guy from Oregon asked me.
Okay, go ahead.
He was under the impression that somebody could not own more than one policy on themselves of the same type of insurance because he had some term. I believe he had some IUL, if I'm remembering correctly.
No, not at all.
And yeah, I had to tell him
just a misconception
that's
there.
not the case. Yeah.
So you can be insured personally up to your human life value, and that is a multiple of your age and health a little bit, and how much you are worth in the marketplace, or how much income would not be there if you died. So basically, very, very practical purposes, ladies and gentlemen, take your age and multiply it. If you're under 40, multiply it by 25. If you're over 40, multiply it by 20. That might be your human life value number. We'll get way more specific when we have one-on-one consultations with you. But let's say you made $100,000 last year. You're 40 years old. Multiply 100 times 25, 2.5 million. You can have as much life insurance as you want up to that number. Super simple way to think about it. The insurance company gets quite more specific, but if you wanted to think about that. So if you're sitting on a $300,000 death benefit at this point in your life because your work has a policy on you, you still have $1.9+ million of life insurance room. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's probably not that hard for people to think of it that way. So your human life value is what you can be insured against. Just like your car's value is what you insure it for.
Yep.
And most people are severely underinsured. Severely. If at all. We see it all the time. So we're here to help with that. Great questions. Okay. Appreciate you guys sharing out there. If anybody else is watching us new at the Banking Bros channel here on the TikTok, go ahead and click the follow button. Double tap on the screen if you're liking or loving any of our answers, and ask us anything. Every Thursday, 3:30 Eastern, when we're in town. I was in Vegas this time last week. We did not have a call, but we're here for you. What's up, Gaia B. Mommy? What's up? I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome. Glad you're here for the first time. Okay. Kathy. No, not Kathy. I'm sorry. Mindy, ask us a question. Mindy, ask us a question. I'm ready.
Got a laugh out of her.
You would put me on the spot.
Yes. We don't have a lot of questions at the current moment. Yeah, Gaia, I got it right. All right, Mindy, give us a little something.
I'm just trying to still absorb a lot. You ran through that. My question. Let me trip over my tongue here. Could you repeat the formula that you were giving out on the life insurance? Sorry.
The human life value.
I wrote it down.
Human life value.
Correct.
Your total HLV. That's an insurance actuarial type term. Human life value is what you can be insured up to. And the insurance company during an underwriting process is going to determine what that number is, whether or not you ask them to be insured at that number. So they have to find out, what is this person worth? Okay, they are trying to be discriminatory in a couple of ways. How old are you? What's your health like? And what is your human life value? You want them to be discriminatory. You want them to figure that stuff out. So I could not tell you. The only one I remember, because I'm 40, and I just turned 40 last month, is right about maybe 25 times my income or net worth, right? This is how much money you have. Normally, people out there are working for dollars, but Heck, I could be a trust fund baby and I have $20 million sitting around and I don't work. So you have to take your income or how much money you got. And at that age, assuming good health, things like that, I'm going to multiply that by maybe up to 25 or so. And that's going to be my human life value at this age. So your human life value goes down. I mean, that multiple goes down as you get older. So in your early 20s, assuming that you're out there making it and making money, and you're an adult, see, that's going to be your highest multiple, maybe 30 times, 35 times. And it's slightly varied from the numbers that I'm saying, and the insurance companies have some differences or whatever. But so I think probably once you are 50, that number is going to drop to about 15 times. Does that seem right?
It does sound accurate, yep.
Yeah, okay. But of course, in your 50s, most people are making the most money they've ever made.
Yep. That's the redeeming part right there, that
right.
while the
you're
multiple
making more
decreases,
money,
you're making more money.
Yeah, most people are making way more money in their fifth decade than they are in their second or third decade.
Mm-hmm.
So next question off of that, then, what if someone is maybe made good investments or what have you? So it goes by what's your total net worth, not just necessarily the income you're making.
Correct. Like I said, I don't have to work, but if I tell them I got $10 million in the bank, they go, oh, okay, great. Well, yeah.
Quick answer on the TikTok is, no, that was a good point. It could be based off of net worth, Mindy, and not just income.
Yeah.
Yes, this book is on Amazon. I couldn't see who asked that, but if you're still looking and listening, yes, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash, 5th edition. It is on Amazon.
All right, I'm going with Wemby for Rookie of the Year, by the way. Great question. How much total money would you have to...
Rookie of the Year question.
Yeah, who's going to be Rookie of the Year, Chet or Wemby? I'm going Wemby. How much total money would you have to realistically start with? You pick premiums, Joe. You pick them. Around our office, you're going to pick that. Premiums are level. Cost of insurance does not rise, so you're going to pick them. And realistically, you've got to pick something that is compounding. Remember what it's doing. It's compounding and growing for you for the rest of your whole life. If that environment is true, and this is really how a policy works, and the cash value is income tax-free, and the growth is income tax-free, and it's a private asset, you can always get to it. It's going to pay out a death benefit guaranteed. How much of your money, Jesse, do you want in that type of environment?
As much as I can right now, and always be ratcheting that up.
So remember that. This environment is where we save our money because of all those perks and benefits and the use and the growth. All of those things. We're going to be able to utilize this to get the interest out of our lives and recapture all of it. So I want to put in as much as I can possibly put in. Around here, we are going to suggest for people who are serious about starting policies on themselves as an adult or something like that, maybe let's think about $1,000 a month. Okay. How rich are both of you? Now, Hug93 wants to know how rich we are. So I'm going to tell Hug that I've bought my net worth. And I was recently looking at the number. Okay, Hug, you ready? How much longer do you have to work? Well, hopefully till I die. I don't plan to give up being valuable. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to offer that value to the world as long as I can. I like to do things that I'm involved with today, so I'm not going to retire, if that's what you're asking me. You didn't say that specifically, but maybe you are. Okay, and I've bought my net worth. Currently, the amount of premium that I have put in today has purchased value over here of $2.5 million. Didn't I just use that number earlier for a different thing? $2.5 million. It's guaranteed to my family. It's coming out, and each and every day, each and every month and year, I realize more of that amount in cash flow with my cash value. Also, that number rises. The type of policies that we do, Jesse will tell you about them here. The value of the policies, the net worth that's coming to you, net now, gross later, and all that stuff, they're going up. They're going up, right, Jesse?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are essentially four things that grow that number, and the guaranteed growth in the policy would be one way. Just by committing to paying premiums into this private asset, it's going to compound over the future. These companies that we own these policies with and that we write these policies with for our clients, they also pay a dividend. That's not guaranteed, but they've paid it for over 100 consecutive years through wars and recessions and depressions, and you fill in the blank, right? look at the history over the past 100 years, dividends go in on top of this as well. Time is going to go by. See, that's one thing that's the same for everybody. The time's going to go by whether you pay a premium or not pay a premium. So when you pay a premium and time goes by, it just goes up. And then at the end of the day, how you use this money. If you use this money that you have accessible and you go out and you do smart things with it, and then you pay it back, plus the interest that you otherwise would have, that grows it as well. I've got a question from Yahumba I want to get back to because he is in our Zoom, and that's where we invite everybody to be able to look at us, face to face, type their questions. So he's got a good one. I want to get to it. What happens if you're not able to pay your premiums for, and he says 6 months? And that's a really great question. That immediately makes me think that person's either somebody who's been an employee who's experienced being let go, maybe.
Oh.
That's just a real life example, right?
Yep.
And another example could be self-employed, where they have great months and then they have some hard months, some tight months, and they just want to know about how would this look like for me. So maybe you take a perspective on, well, if somebody works for themselves.
Sure. So here's how I always answer it, but I'm trying to actually think of how I can answer it in a new way. Put a new neural pathway in my brain the way Jesse asked it and the way you said it, Yumber, with 6 months. But I might not be able to do that off the fly. I'm going to say
I know a guy who worked on motorcycles, and he made like 90% of his income over the summer.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole rest of the year is just nothing.
Oh, okay. So if you're going to say it like that, this is how I would suggest. First off, pick a premium mode or frequency that's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to pay it annually. You don't have to pay it monthly. You pick. $12,000 a year is the same as $1,000 a month. Doesn't matter to us or the insurance company. Your Netflix is the same way. You can pay it monthly. You can pay it annually. Does not matter. So remember that first off and think of that. The other two modes are semi-annual, every 6 months, or quarterly. So it doesn't matter. You can pick. And of course, 1 year you may be paying annually, and then the next year you call the company on your anniversary and say, let's go every month. Let's go monthly. No problem. So remember that. Specifically, remember that if you don't pay premiums are fixed. They don't go up. The cost never rises. If you don't pay them and the policy needs premiums, you forfeit. You forfeit your policy. So let's not get it twisted. However, this is how I normally ask. You knew I had to circle around and get back to the way I normally answer it. There are several fail-safes built in to the policy.
Non-forfeiture options.
Non-forfeiture options. Number one, if you owe premium and you don't pay it, we are going to set your policy up with this non-forfeiture option day one, and it's going to be grab some of that cash value, the equity, the liquidity, the surrender value of this bad boy, because it's cash, grab it out of the policy and pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's automatic, ladies and gentlemen. We're not suggesting it. It's just answering your question. Okay, but there's an automatic premium loan is what that's called. Okay, automatic. The second one is dividends. Reminder that any Tom, Dick, and Harry agent of yours, friends out there and family members, they'll always tell you this one. Remember that the dividends from a mutual insurance company, some of the big names that you know and the policies that we use, the dividends that are annually paid from the insurance company are given to you, and you have several options. The option we're going to set up is go ahead and put that money on top of my money. Okay? That's dividends or purchasing paid up additions or PUA. But let's say you owe premium and you didn't pay it. You see where this is going? They're going right inside the premium cup. So if you did not pay premium or you wanted the dividends purposely to offset the amount of premium, it does it automatically. So let's say you have a premium of $12,000. That's what you picked. It's just a number. TikTok, calm down. $12,000 annual premium. And you had a dividend that year that happened to be $500. Well, you could decide not to give the insurance company all $12,000. Now, me and Jesse would not do that. We like paying premium. However, maybe you pay them $11,500 and they paid you $500. You see, that's the second fail-safe. And the third fail-safe, remember that every dollar you put in to premium and whole life insurance that we're going to design is going to compound and grow. So the amount of growth in your policy over time becomes more efficient and bigger. So I ain't got no problem putting in one knowing that I got 2 coming. So don't forget that. Those fail safes are probably the easy way. We didn't go that fast.
Yep. No.
Maybe you understood it. That's some of what happens here, if that helps you out there.
And that's how the policy itself works too. How you treat that policy. I mean, we could add that as another filter onto this, because if I have this policy, do I have to take out all the cash value and not leave any? That way there's something there if a hardship does come my way. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having capital reserved, left, built up in your privatized banking system. I mean, let's say I'm doing something like paying off debts. It doesn't mean I have to leverage all of the cash value out of my policy. Maybe I do it systematically and I say, well, you know, I'm only going to leverage a percentage while I pay off this debt. That way, if something does happen unexpected, here's my reserve. Here's my emergency fund. So for you savers out there, this fits right into that.
100%. You've got to have an environment to save your money, and this is where you want it. We're here to tell you. May we suggest it? Okay, what's up, Kane? I am guessing, if I'm in my late 50s, it's too late to start. You are guessing wrong.
Come on.
Joanna, how can a licensed agent learn to structure these policies? Okay, we'll answer both. Let's go back to Kane. Sometimes a double up, make sure we don't miss them.
Can I take the 50 one?
You take it.
Just because I was just speaking with a lady this past week who was sitting down with her sisters who were also, they're from Georgia, and they were dedicating some time to talking about, hey, how they wanted things to look differently in their family, because they had someone recently pass that was important to them, and they just realized, hey, we thought this person had it together. We thought they had a plan. We thought they had money. We thought they already had this kind of stuff set up and figured out. And they found out that that was not the case. And these sisters are sitting down saying, well, we for sure want it to be different for us, because they got grandkids and kids at this point themselves. And they're saying, okay, so we're going to be the ones that set it up differently. And I'm just the biggest cheerleader of this lady that I'm on the phone with from Georgia, who's sitting down with her sister saying, let's have a different starting point for the next generation. Let's set ourselves up where we're not beholden to the banks, to where we're actually planning for these eventualities. I mean, turns out 100% out of 100 Americans graduate or pass away, and they just decided to proactively plan for all of this stuff, both become independent in their banking and cover those final expenses all at the same time with this save and spend system. And we had a great conversation. I'm actually booked with a second call for her tomorrow. So absolutely not. I don't care if you're 50, 60, 70, 80. If you're breathing, you're banking. Right. I believe you should be privatizing it.
There we go. It doesn't matter if you're nurse to the curse. If you're a baby or you're, does that work? Right?
I don't know if that really works. I don't think I've heard it.
Diapers to depends, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be banking. Okay, banking is always happening.
I'm judging you for that one.
Banking is always happening. So what you're asking us, we answered in a different way. What you're asking us is, wow, wouldn't it be, it's too late to start because the growth won't be good and it costs too much. Banking is still going on. Mm-hmm. Also, you don't have to be the body. Okay, you don't have to be the body. Let's say that your 50-year-old body is old and busted, as Will Smith said in Was Men in Black. New hotness, old and busted. You remember? Anyway, you don't have to be the body.
Ask me at Disney. I got young kids in Disney. I'd be a little bit quicker, I'm sure.
Okay, so you don't have to be the body. So let's say I was uninsurable. I want to be involved with banking because of my age, my health, or some previous issue. Well, start a policy on the missus, on the kids, on the business partners. You don't have to be the policy insured body. Okay, Joanna, how can a licensed agent learn to structure these policies? Well, by someone teaching you. I mean, that's how we learn anything. But but here's the bigger part of the question. The bigger part of the question here is, are you working with the right style of company and the right style of policies? Okay? There are 3 pieces. You asked me one of those pieces. It's a 3-legged stool. One stool, structure of policy. Another stool, the company you structured the policy from. 3, the type of policy from that company that you structured. All 3 are important. After that, banker's choice. The banker can do lots of things with it, but we need all 3 of those. So let's remind you, we're going to utilize mutual insurance companies that pay dividends or participating whole life insurance. That's the second thing. We're not doing this with car insurance, phone insurance, or fire insurance. It is whole life from mutual companies that participate in the dividend growth. And then it's the structure. All 3 of those are important. Okay, so we want to help you Be reminded of those things. People ask all the time those types of questions. At our office, we're not recruiters here. We don't just train people to do that. Joanna, appreciate it if you thought that's what we did. What we're here to do is specifically broker with the right style of companies who have great flexible policies for the process that we can bank from. That's what we do. Appreciate the question.
I always enjoy having the conversations. I still have them from time to time. Somebody will end up on my calendar, and they're a professional in the space. It happened earlier today. They have a license. They do things in life insurance. It's an interesting conversation to have. I appreciate you asking. I appreciate just your effort to continue learning. There was another question right there, JD, about IUL. You were just talking about that stool product is one of those, those pegs. How about you?
Joanna, I see. Okay, I'm appointed with a broker. Mainly they run IULs, but these make more sense to me. IULs are not guaranteed. The cost of the insurance is not guaranteed. The death benefit, therefore, is not guaranteed. And the cash value growth or lack thereof is not guaranteed. All three have problems for infinite banking. If you need an IUL, want an IUL to do something else for you, which I can't imagine because everybody buys them for the same one or two reasons, basically cash flow, at least they think, or retirement, there's a superior product because the guarantees are there. That's my opinion, but IULs do not have a guaranteed cost of insurance. The insurance cost rises every single year. Mm-hmm. Maybe your premium didn't rise, but the cost of the insurance did.
Annual renewable term.
So one day, if and when you live long enough where that cost of insurance exceeds your premiums, two things have to happen. You've got to pay more. But aren't you old now? Doesn't the cost of insurance rise as you age? Weren't you going to use this for retirement? And second, you have to pay more or it has to eat the cash value. So how are we going to use it? Okay, those are very important. That's a universal life insurance conundrum and problem. And IULs do not solve that problem for you.
Right. So you answered a product question. Here's one about the company. We got Sean on YouTube asking, what whole life insurance companies do you guys work with? I'm familiar with One America, Guardian, Penn Mutual, and Lafayette. Me too.
Sean.
We're familiar with those.
Sean, you've been with us for a while. Do I recognize that name, Sean, on YouTube? Remember, we are the Cash Compound on YouTube for all you out there. Go ahead and follow and like. Appreciate the hearts. We're getting a few people. If you like, love, or learn something, go ahead and double tap. Give us a heart there. Sean, let me know. I'm trying to stall to give you time. Because do I recognize your name? Sean is on YouTube asking us what type of companies. Sean, you know enough, my boy. Sean, we like all those companies. Yep. All those companies are great mutual insurance companies that pay dividends for your infinite banking policies. All of them can work. We work with half of them.
And I own policies with others that aren't on there.
Correct.
And some that are.
There's probably about a dozen that are super great and super big and super kind of familiar in North America, at least in U.S. But you can do it in Canada as well. Different companies. Companies don't like really cross-country lines. But those are all great. Mm-hmm. Those are all great.
They're great all the companies type of companies. Not hiding under rocks.
No. Okay. Okay. Mindy, you getting it all? You taking notes?
I am. Yeah, I actually had another question for you.
Go ahead.
If somebody has money in I'll say 401k because I know a lot of people are familiar with 401ks, but I know you can convert your 401k to an IRA whenever you leave. So how does that work for infinite banking?
Great question.
For funding a policy.
Okay, there's a line down the middle. And that line down the middle is qualified and unqualified. I'm going to start there. Your tax qualified investment accounts, they're really not savings accounts, that your job set up, that the government set up, and they got those numbers on them, 529s, 403bs, 401ks, those are tax qualified, meaning you mess with them, you about to get hit. The government already locked that stuff up because it's most of the time it's deferring your taxes. You'll pay taxes later. So you cannot roll them over. That's a pretty common term. You cannot roll them over into unqualified. Unqualified means that life insurance, ladies and gentlemen, is not a product of the IRS or the government. Not at all. So we're putting normally after-tax dollars inside premium of whole life insurance, and it grows and cash flows without Uncle Sam being involved anymore. There is no rollover. And, of course, you're going to take penalties on certain things like 401ks if you do it when you're not of age. Does that answer the question?
Solid question. On the phone with a guy this week talking about 401k. Yep.
Now, you can roll over in the insurance world. It's called a 1035 exchange. Those are our real estate friends out there like Mindy. No 1031 exchanges. 1035 exchange is rolling a unqualified money into something else unqualified. So you can roll life insurance into other life insurance. If it's the one that you didn't want, not working for you, and there's cash surrender value, you can roll that to something you do like an infinite banking policy properly structured. You can also roll annuities. Okay, so you can roll a little life insurance into an annuity, so you're going to get paid out for life or something like that. Those are unqualified types of things that come from insurance companies. Well, annuities can definitely be taxable, but your insurance can be taxable too if you're not paying attention to what we're telling you.
But they're private contracts.
Yeah.
Yep, not
But,
government qualified plans. So, number one, Sean gave you an LOL.
I saw that.
I hope that means something for you.
I saw that.
Here on TikTok, if you would scroll up, can you find, there was a comment, I think I read it well enough, right there on the death benefit. Somebody's asking about the death benefit. What if I have an outstanding policy loan was what it looked like.
Oh, yeah. Pat, what's up? What happens to my dependents if I borrow from my death benefit and die unexpectedly? First off, it's very expected that you're going to die. Pat, we'll let you know. You don't have to be unexpected. Like, that's why we're buying insurance. You're going to die. Second, what happens to your dependents? I don't know. You're dead. I'm not worried about them anymore. That's what the money's for. Because Jesse's going to tell us that money's coming, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. For sure. So it's a tax-free windfall, death benefit in general, tax-free windfall to your heirs, to your beneficiaries, whoever you designate. Now, my philosophy as a professional in this space is that if your children are of age, I would have liked to have had them in on mine and your Zoom calls. I mean, that's just how I roll as a professional. If they're of age, they should have been in on consultation calls with us so that they're aware of you guys are your own bankers. Jesse helps us in what we're doing in having this private family banking system. But if they're minors, and you pass away unexpectedly, meaning at a time that you did not anticipate, meaning early in life. I mean, that's probably what you're implying, of course, right there. If you had outstanding policy loans, your family will receive 100% of the death benefit that had not already been accessed, which would have been those policy loans, and they'll get it tax-free. And again, that's where working with folks like us, of course, I'm going to say we should have been walking hand in hand in whatever it is that you were doing, whatever it is that you were implementing, and hopefully we had a relationship already built with your children if they were of age. But teach them early, right, JD?
100%. We have a whole motif on father figures where we walk and talk through the policies that we start on our children so they can know this. Secondly, we are talking about infinite banking or the use of this policy regularly. So I'm going to die with outstanding loans. I already know because I use the money all the time. This is the pool of money from which I finance purchases. So think about that for a second. I'm not scared of it. Also, most people don't know this, so I have to add this in, but it's very obvious to us who work in it all the time. The death benefit is rising, okay? So the death benefit is not the same face amount or death benefit you started with.
Right.
All of the policies we are designing will have increased death benefits anyway. Most people don't know that, and we have a tendency to skip over that.
Solid
death
point.
benefit is rising, and we're going to borrow against the liquidity of it or cash values throughout our life. I plan to die with money outstanding because we just went to Disney World. We just bought a new car. We got into a new investment strategy. I'll die with those things outstanding anyway. It's okay. Got it? We'll help and walk and talk you through it. Wonderful question. Thank you. If you're loving or liking what I'm saying, double tap on the screen. TikTok. Any more out there? Sean, you didn't answer any of my questions.
He just gave you that.
You just gave me an LOL, and I stalled for 10 minutes. You still didn't answer any.
Come back, Sean.
Sean, you already working with us? Where are you from, Sean? Let us know. We probably only have one or two people who are watching live on YouTube. But we appreciate all the interactions and questions, comments, and concerns. If you'd like a free cash consultation, one-on-one with one of our coaches, click the link in the bio. Jesse's link is waiting for you. He's been taking a lot of calls. We've been traveling the last couple of weeks. Came home. Jonah's sick. He's the other banking bro that you see on some of our TikTok posts. But you can follow this man at Durham Talents on several of his channels and also the Cash Compound channels. You'll see him pop up all the time. He's one of our coaches. He's walking and talking people through their specific questions when they got that 401k, they got that 3-year-old, they got that financing need, and they say, hey, is infinite banking for me? Boom, this is your guy. We got that link set up for you right here.
Perfect.
Making sense? We making
Mindy,
sense
you've
of
been
it?
asking good questions. Should we circle back to you?
Mindy's in training with us here, and so she's newer. So we've encouraged you guys also to pre-register for this, and then when we do show slides and we show examples of things or show illustrations, because I know half of you just salivating because you don't understand it, but you think illustrations answer all your questions. We'll do that on Zoom. Okay, so go ahead and register for the Zooms in the future. Mindy, got something?
Okay.
Oh, I have a lot of questions. I'm just trying to, find the ones. I know you can start, so the youngest age you can start, I know you can do them on your children, but can they, like, as soon as they're born, do they have to be 6 months old, a year old? How old?
2 weeks. 2 weeks, and you need a social security number.
Sorry, my internet's lagging here, so I didn't know. Okay. So they have 2 weeks old and have a social security number. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to need a social, and they got to be 2 weeks old. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much immediately.
Okay.
What's the earliest now? How do
they determine?
What's that? How do they determine?
Oh, I wasn't trying to walk over you. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was going to ask you, Jesse, a funny question here. How do they determine how old they are? Well, 14 days. You just count them.
The amount of insurance you can get on them.
Great question. That's a good one. Jesse, take it.
Yeah, sure. So typically the solid answer is half of what the parents are covered for. So if a parent, and this could be insurance through work, whatever their total insurance is, split it in half. That's what a child can be insured for. There might be some exceptions with certain companies, but the easy answer is half of what the parents are.
And the upper limit, probably under 18, is $1 million.
Right.
A lot of times they just really don't like above $1 million. So pops might be worth 10 million and have 10 million, and they might cap you at about 1 million or so for a minor in their family. They can get more insurance, of course, after they're 18, and they become a little bit more productive in the world of commerce.
That's what I was thinking.
Life value goes up.
In connection with the last one we were just addressing is that the idea overall is to have a system of policies. So if you pass away, when you pass away, if you have a system of policies, that's going to play into this whole idea of being your own banker. So if I started out with my child having a policy at 2 weeks, if I can get another one when they're 2 years old, I will. 10 years old, I will. And then when they become an adult and they could be getting policies on themselves, keep adding to the system.
100%. My kids, I have 4, all have policies, infinite banking style policies, where we utilize cash values, borrow against those. But I plan to get more. By the time they get out of my house, hopefully each kid will have at least one more policy, because they are not insured to their full value at this point, and I got to store my money somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you can't get term policies on children, whereas you can on adults.
That's a good thing that I forgot. Yeah. You can't get term on people less than 18 most of the time, I guess.
So go ahead and get guaranteed insurance on them anyway. Of course, banking style, but guaranteed. Why not? While you can.
Mindy.
What's the biggest objection you get to someone? The most common, I should say, most common objection for not doing something that you can address, that maybe is a fallacy. Somebody says, so I can't do it, or it's not good for this, or what have you.
Oh, well, banking is a process, so they don't understand how those things connect. That's the objection. They don't understand that banking is always happening. And so when that happens, which happens all the time, okay, it's not necessarily an objection, but it's a coming to knowledge moment, they have a tendency to talk about investment returns. Mm-hmm. So because of that, they think this has to do with investment returns, and they're trying to figure out math. And people will commonly, who are doing business in real estate, making good money, or investing regularly, they'll often come back with, well, I'm a numbers person. Well, we're not talking about that until you understand banking is the problem. Banking is always happening, and the problem is if you don't control that banking in your life, someone else is making money every time you transact. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about first. Banking is always happening. So And in the world you live in, which is a lot of creative real estate investing, and the people that some of us know mutually, that is where we are going to all the time, is we're trying to help them understand the problem before we try to solve it with their math numbers or whatever, returns. We're trying to help them go, this is happening no matter what. So here's a thought if you think long range, which is Nelson Nash's first rule. Reminder, we're talking about things coming out of this book, BYOB, 5th edition. It's got the man on the back. This is what you're looking for. Think of it, if you think of it long range, sometimes this is a cop-out. But people who I'm talking to would think this answer is a cop-out. But as our policies become more efficient in my family, I am first-generation banker, but as we get to the second-generation banker, my kids will never have that same argument that investor is going to have, because there's cash values that are growing and exceeding premiums, earning dividends, being more and more liquid and usable. It's not a rate of return game. But sometimes people got to get out of the starting blocks to see that. My kids will never talk about rate of return because they'll have banking systems that exceed premiums because of when we started them on them. So they're never going to have that argument. They're going to be like, well, no, I put in 1, I got 2 to use, lose, abuse over here. They won't be talking about rate of return in their policy. They'll be talking about rate of return on the investments they go make with their cash value.
Mm-hmm. Rate of return, that's a good one. I would think of, I don't know if it's the number one spot, but sometimes, Mindy, I would say when people give an honest look, like to our recorded presentation, which if you are seeing or hearing from us for the first time, and if you've not seen our recorded presentation, check that out. Because when you've given that an honest look and you're exposed to the idea of becoming your own banker, of saving and spending money at the same time, I know that I kind of thought this is like, is this too good to be true? It looks, I could almost use the word magic. But here's how you know it's not magic. Here's how you know it's not too good to be true. The biggest risk in this process, and again, I'll use that word just like Jadu did, the biggest risk in this process, not the product, not the insurance company. The insurance company's been trucking along just fine before I got here. It's me. It's how I use this product. It's whether I actually adopt the philosophy of long-range thinking and not being afraid to capitalize and rethinking my thinking and being an honest banker. It's all things that have to do with me. So is it too good to be true? I hear that sometimes, and that's my answer to that is, well, nope, it's not too good to be true because you're the one that's going to be running the show. How are you going to do? Are you going to adopt these philosophies and principles, do it well, be an honest banker or not?
Great stuff. Great stuff. Yep.
Thank
so
you.
Once again, we're here to educate, Mindy, and I think you know that. A lot of folks out there who are watching today understand that because we don't sell you anything. You don't have to buy anything from us. We do have lots of premium content and things like that, but we're here to educate first and help answer your questions about the process of banking and the product from which it comes. It's such a misunderstood product that we talk about the product plenty, but the process of banking always needs to happen, is always better to be banking from a pool of money you control. So, yep. So we got to be careful about like biggest objection. Well, people call us, so I'm not sure they call us.
Right.
So like biggest objection. I mean, you know, if we're doing stuff online anyway.
I didn't necessarily mean objection. I guess I should have phrased it different. If it's the biggest question, or what's the most common question that people get that
but yeah, it a lot of
they maybe don't understand it all.
I would say that it has to do with rate of return. They think this is investment product. So some form of that question comes in 20 different ways, but it's the same question. How does this thing grow? Rate of return? What's my money going to do for sure or not or whatever? It's like whoa, not an investment. So it's coming from something like that.
How about rate of return? Because you're right. I think that's 100% it. People go to the numbers and they'll use that phrase because they've heard it from someone else. Yeah. So, Nash talks about how most people's understanding about whole life insurance is based off of someone else's misunderstanding. So not only is it someone else's, so we're just regurgitating what somebody else said that we know their name and they're on the radio or they're on, whatever, and they have a platform, which I'm not disparaging that. But if we're spouting that without knowing that for ourselves, that's one problem. And then number two, was what they were saying accurate in the first place? That would be another problem.
Yeah. Big deal there. Banking is always going on. Okay,
right.
Appreciate you guys out there on the Banking Bros TikTok. Remember, we've got free consultations to give away. So go ahead and sign up. Watch our presentation. We do have a new presentation. Jesse mentioned to it a few minutes ago. The Save and Spend system has got a little bit of an update and upgrade. So we hope that you watch that video and learn what it is we're talking about in its long form. And I don't mean too long form. I mean 1 hour of your time could change the outlook of the rest of your life and the next generations, because you learn to become your own banker. That's what we teach at the Cash Compound here. We call it the Save and Spend system, so that's the video you're looking for. Questions, comments, and concerns, double tap on the screen if you like, love, or learn something today. We are live on Thursdays, 3:30 Eastern Time, and we're answering questions. Ask us anything. We have got some teaching topics today. After a week plus of traveling, we didn't jump into specifics on those teaching topics. I was at the Nelson Nash Institute. I'm an official practitioner. I'm in that prestigious club of people who think they're better than everyone else because now we know and we've been accepted into his legacy pool. Nelson Nash, the inventor of the concept, infinite banking, and me and my brother did a keynote speech in our second time there. First time being practitioners, we were asked to speak on stage. Went rather well. Got to mingle with our peers, got to learn what they know, got new tools, tricks, and things we're going to implement for our clients so we can help you understand your cash flow better, grow it, keep it,
very cool,
pass it on, all that type of stuff. We're looking forward to launching that, unleashing it to you very soon. So that's what we've been up to. Any other questions? We don't need to end early at all. We're normally here for another 10 minutes at least. We love questions, and maybe Mindy has something. She's our go-to today on our Zoom. Remember, you can register for these and see some of our stuff in our Zoom, get our emails, subscribe to our channels, and stuff like that. So by clicking there, you're going to be a part of our community. We've got a Facebook group. We'd love to get you in there. Oh, I'm going to tell you, Mindy, hopefully you're coming back here in a second because I told you we'd come to another question of yours. Want to help. Jesse, I'm in an infinite banking group on Facebook, not ours. We have one called Infinite Bankers. Please join us there. Anybody can join. Don't have to be a client. Don't have to pay. We're going to get in the conversation. And this young man, I believe, is about 66. I think he had a policy that was paid up. For those of you who don't know what that means he's no longer actually contributing premium. And the policy is paid for. It's now going to keep and grow and cash flow for the rest of his whole life, but he doesn't have to put any more money in. I think that was about last year. I think he's 66.
Okay.
This guy is operating on a different level. His cash value, I don't know his death benefit, but he's talking about his cash value growth, okay? Jesse, guess how much? Big number. That's why I'm bringing this up. Big number. How much did his cash value grow by last year? So each and every year, you've got a guaranteed growth rate of new cash value. These are the type of policies we want to work with. That growth is income tax free. He can use it for any reason. I can use it, whether it's $5 or this guy's number. And every year it's going to get bigger because of the guaranteed growth and mutual company dividends that get added to his system. How much money net, cash-free, did his cash value grow by last year?
You asking me a dollar amount or a metric?
Like
a multiple?
Dollar amount.
How old is the policy? Can I ask that?
I don't know. Okay, so let's assume that let's assume that it paid up at 65. He had it 20 years, 25 years. Let's assume he had it.
Okay, let's say
I don't know if he did or not, but let's say he did. He's been practicing IBC since 2000. I don't know.
30,000.
1.12 million.
Stop it.
Cash value total, $25 million.
Okay. Another level. I love it.
He's in that group all the time. He's always talking about stocks. Yeah, he's obviously a trader.
I'd always be talking about stuff too.
You talk about whatever you want with that type of liquid cash. 1.12
Was that one policy?
million. I believe so. Yes.
That's
I believe
fantastic.
So. I've seen him talk in this group before and things, and I think he's a grandfather. I think he has a system of policies, but
you would think.
I do believe this. I was reading it on a plane this morning. 1.1 million was added to his cash values.
Fantastic.
That now total 25. Wow. Yeah. Big numbers out there. So one thing that my friend Kyle Fuller will say, I'm talking a little bit to the crowd here. I'm not talking to the crowd, talking to the choir a little bit. Kyle Fuller, you can follow them at Factum Financial, wherever they might be out there. Okay. So he's a colleague in this space. We love him and what he's doing. He has broken down something that we've got coming for our clients soon. We got to do it. Got to do it, Jesse.
Okay.
Is people do not think, Americans do not think, we're not conditioned to think in annual growth, monthly growth, monthly bills, monthly fees, monthly growth of cash value. So he's got his system broken down where they're trying to plug and play one or two numbers into spreadsheets. So it shows people their month over month growth of cash value.
Okay.
It's really cool. I'll show you something after we get off here because we're using my phone on TikTok. What's up, everybody? But his policies, his system and family banking policies grow around the last month. He had the number, I think, $3,700 this past month. Mm-hmm. That was his growth in his policies. Remember, this is guaranteed passive income tax-free money. This is net amounts, okay? We've got to compare apples to apples when you're thinking about these numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't have to own real estate to get this number. He doesn't have to work to get this number. He's not worried about taxes and fees in this number, but it grows 37. How much money, Jesse, would you have to put in at Bank of America or Chase to get $3,700 tax-free? How much money would you have to have in your accounts?
To get it tax-free? There's no amount. They're going to tax me.
Well, I'm saying like after taxes is what I meant.
I got
after
you. I
taxes.
got you.
Yeah. How much money would, I mean, obviously I don't know the answer.
I don't do that math in my head.
Right.
It's
yeah.
big.
Yeah. So that's happening automatic in your policies. Plus there's a death benefit. You guys have got to get online with us and understand what we're dealing with here in whole life insurance. And it's just an amazing thing that keeps you going to remind you. He's got a system of about 20, 25 policies, and his cash value growth last month was $3,700.
I love it.
Yeah.
Every aspect of it, 25 policies,
yeah.
The growth, tax-free.
Yeah.
I love everything about that.
Okay. We'll take one or two more questions out there. Anybody from TikTok land want to add anything or take away? Do you have anything you want to argue and debate? We're here for 5 more minutes.
Let's go.
Give it to us. And remember, we want to get in a conversation with you. Please join our community here at the Cash Compound. Click that link in the Banking Bros. Follow along. Get in a conversation with us after you watch the Save and Spend system. But if you don't have anything that's coming to us, we're going to Mindy one more time. Mindy, what else you got? One more good one for the good
She's
of the group.
She's getting prime time with the two of us.
She should, though. She's ready to learn this. She's part of our team.
That's becoming apparent. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
We got to help her move forward. She's gonna be a great asset to a lot of you when she becomes a full-fledged coach.
Like I said, I have a lot of questions. I'm trying to formulate them, but you've covered a lot, so I don't want to ask the same something you've already gone over.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
Ones that, so, and I know that. Okay, so just to clarify, not so much for me, but just to ask the question in general. I know a lot of people. They talk about different policies that you can do. Obviously, we're familiar with term and whole life and all that, but a lot of people, and I've heard people talk about the indexed universal and, different types like universal life just in general.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with the fact that those aren't suitable. But can you explain why?
Yeah. We'll come back to that.
Love it. Have the universal.
Yes. Okay. So the question out here, I'm reminded and realizing folks can't hear her. So let me repeat. Maybe on YouTube.
I feel like some
I think on YouTube they can.
Last time could.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, here's the question. If you didn't hear it and you're still out there watching, I didn't see the number fluctuate much, so I think you guys are enjoying this small and mighty crowd. Appreciate you. The question is, why is it? What's going on different in the products of Universal Life? Universal Life Insurance is a style of insurance. It's also called, and in my opinion, misclassified as permanent life insurance.
Yes.
I'll tell you how it can be permanent, but it's not guaranteed to be permanent. So why can't we, or what's going on that's different there, as so many people have been marketed to and even own policies in universal life space that I do not think are working in their favor. They don't understand it. If they did understand it, I don't think they'd be trying to use it for infinite banking. So what's going on there? But to know better about what it is, you might have to know what it's not. So I'm going to invite Jesse to maybe start that conversation. Okay. What it's not, and that's where I always talk about whole life again, just to make sure you know what it is.
Guaranteed's the word that comes to mind, first of all. You mentioned something about it earlier in regards to premiums, in regards to cash value, in regards to death benefit. It's not guaranteed. It's not permanent. The only thing permanent about it is the issues that it presents.
That's right. Okay, so here we go, Kathy and everybody else. Okay, so we've got our 3-cup setup here. If you can see us out there, that's what we're famous for. The 3-cup setup helps us visualize the product for the process of infinite banking. So we're talking through utilizing the correct kind, the kind that works every time. It's called whole life insurance. We want to use that from a mutual company that pays dividends. This is my little dividend cup, and I keep pouring the dividends in and out of it, my little shot glass here. So guarantees, like Jesse said, premiums are guaranteed, meaning the cost of insurance does not change. That is not guaranteed in universal life. So the cost to have the policy, right? What does the cost buy? The premium buys insurance, not guaranteed. The death benefit or the insurance, not guaranteed either in universal life. In whole life, it is guaranteed. Cash values, the growth, not guaranteed in IUL. He mentioned all this stuff, or universal life, and let me now explain why. Okay, let me explain why. In universal life insurance, the premiums are not guaranteed. You have a bunch of flexibility on how you want to do it. Therefore, it's going to make this not guaranteed. But over the course of your lifetime, the cost of the insurance, see what I'm pointing at? The cost of the insurance changes. It is not fixed. And it is built on a chassis called annual renewable term or yearly renewable term, YRT or ART. So the cost is rising every year. Whether or not you're paying more premiums, the cost is rising. It is not fixed, and it is rising, and it is rising at amounts that we don't know in the future. But we do know you're getting older, and as I mentioned, it's annual renewable term insurance. So each year, it's more risk for the insurance company to insure you. So the cost of that risk goes up. It's called mortality charges, cost of the insurance. It's not fixed. So I won't give an opinion now on how most people think it's going to work and whatever. I'll just tell you it's just not a fixed number. So therefore, the death benefit is not fixed. Okay, cash value inside universal life insurance is an investment account. It's an accumulation account. Where that money is depends on, or how it's working or how it's not going to work, is depending on what type of universal life you have. Generally, universal life, variable universal life, index universal life, or equity index universal life. There's basically 3 types. Universal life, there's a fixed growth rate. Okay? The cost is not fixed, but there's a fixed growth rate. 2, variable universal life. This account is put into the stock market, literally. So does the stock market, Jesse, have unlimited potential to go up?
But you only get hurt if you jump out of the roller coaster, JD. That's what just jumped in my mind right there.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, the opportunity to make bukus of money, Bitcoin to the moon, is there. You can make tons. It's a fixed instrument over here in whole life. Fixed instrument. Of course, if you take some risk and go into stocks, you have the ability to go way higher, but you have the ability to lose.
Right.
And therefore, how can we suggest, when we don't know if there's going to be any money in there, how that mortality charge, expense premium charge is going to, we can't know for sure. That's stocks. We all kind of understand that. Nobody argues with that. They understand, oh, stocks could be risky. Okay. Index. This is the one that trips people up. Number one that trips people up because they don't really understand the product well. Number 2, there's a lot of people out there who are selling it who also don't understand the product well. And the ones who do probably don't care that much. Okay. inside universal life, that is indexed universal life. IUL, the insurance company, takes this guaranteed credited money, some of which they give to the universal life people and they give to the whole life people for sure. They buy something in the market with it. That thing in the market has the potential to go up, but cap. And it only goes so low. How in the world do you participate in the market, Jesse, where you have upside potential and downside protection? What did you buy? It's not a stock.
They say it's IUL.
Yeah, but if we want to get involved in the, some people get this, but I wouldn't have known. I didn't know. What do you buy? If I go buy stocks, I go up and I go down with it.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world can you get into the market in an index and not go up all the way and have a floor? What did you actually buy? Because you didn't buy the index. Because you would have
the
gone
option.
with it. You bought the option. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you bought options, okay? And in options, what can happen there is you have the ability to go up. But the insurance company, they get to choose how you participate. They get to choose your participation rate, the cap. You have no control.
You're not picking those numbers
on any of that stuff. Also, of course, if there is no growth or the growth is not high enough or beyond what they term you, then you're going to have 0 or 1% as a floor. So we don't know if we're going to have cash. We just can't use that. Also, remember, the cost of the insurance is rising. So as you get older and that option did not perform the way you needed to, or you took some money as a loan, what happens if there's no money there? You lose the policy. That's the equity value of your policy. So as your cost rises, you're either going to have to pay more money into this to keep the policy, or it'll have to eat the cash value. And once it eats the cash value and it gets to 0, the thing lapses. You just can't use it. So that was kind of the long version of it. It took 6 minutes to explain that, but
it's a lot of good information.
Yeah, universal life is not what you want to be messing with. It's so many people have gotten bit in the butt in universal life. Everyone who's 10 years older than us knows that because of the life that they lived. And if they know anything about insurance, they've heard that, man, everybody's policy is in trouble. I read something this morning that said something like in the early 2000s, 30 to 50%, Jesse, of all universal life products sold in the first decade of this century was estimated 30 to 50%, a third of all policies was estimated they were new universal life policies rolled over because the old ones were bad. Okay. It wasn't even new people. It was crap. My policy's not going to make it. I'm getting older. Interest rates have changed. I'm not getting this money that I thought.
I didn't fund it the way that I said that I would in the beginning.
I didn't fund it. I changed my premiums. I did not go to fully funding. Now, here's another question, and I saw it in this article, and then we'll be done. What's really crazy, if universal life is so good and it's going to have all this potential, but it has a floor, you won't lose in it, why wouldn't you put all your money into it? Because in whole life, me and Jesse 10 minutes ago were like, we're putting all of our money into it as much as we can. So if universal life works so well, why is everybody out there buying all these super underfunded, $150, $200 universal life? If it's going to work well, why didn't you put your money into it?
They're not serious for one. If they're doing it that way, no matter what you're doing. If you were playing the lottery, you're not even serious about it.
Right. Does that make sense enough for you, Mindy? So we have a tendency to use the 3-cup setup to illustrate that, and it normally helps. Not guaranteed, not guaranteed, not guaranteed for different reasons.
Risky.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. You freeze up some, so it's hard to tell if you're talking. Okay, Humber, appreciate you and Mindy participating out there. You're blipping on us a little bit there, Mindy, so it's hard to...
Jerry said he'd be back to see us again, too. Love it.
Ladies and gentlemen out there, the judge and jury, hopefully you've had some verdicts in your mind that whole life insurance is the way for you to save your money and spend theirs. So click the Banking Bros logo. We'll get back to you very soon with a great video, one-on-one consultation, and we'll help coach you through getting started and becoming your own banker. All right, what's up, Money Talks? Wants to add universal life policies, change the admin fees to make up for lost premiums. Ooh, it's tough sometimes to understand everybody's cryptic 140 characters. Wants to add universal life policies, change the admin fees to make up for lost premium. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, Money Talks.
Can't follow it.
Yeah, but I think you're right, whatever you're saying. I just am not sure. One or two of those words probably needs punctuation or a different word. Okay. Any other questions for us out there, friends and neighbors?
You can run it back by us.
Yeah, we're here if you want to take a minute and just give us a little something. Universal life insurance has way too many variables. A bunch of them you do not control.
Our real pragmatic answer about that too is just you've given so many great reasons as to why. And at the end of the day, Nash didn't own any, didn't write any. I don't own any, don't write any.
Your bank does not own any.
Oh, there's a point. Yeah. Right.
Another thing. Okay, appreciate you guys. Peace. We're out.